Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this video, we're going to revisit the topic of Freemason ownership over spirituality and science by examining what happened Christmas Eve 1968 when three Apollo astronauts, supposedly orbiting the moon for the first time in human history, read from Genesis, the book of creation in the Bible. If you've never read the Bible before, Genesis is the first book of the 39 books of the Old Testament, which the Jewish faith goes by. It tells the story of the creation of the world, the story of Adam and Eve. It is the spiritual equivalent, Genesis, of the scientific explanation of how the world came into being, the Big Bang. In this video, we're also going to talk about the parallels between Genesis, Big Bang, and what they have to do with the date December 24th, 1968, Christmas Eve, when a news story emerged. In the mainstream media, after the reading of Genesis, there was a national news story that the American atheists were suing the federal government for violating the merger of church and state. They were saying that by having these NASA astronauts funded by the federal government reading from the book of Genesis, it breached what this country is supposed to be about, the separation of church and state. And unfortunately, we live in a world where we are commonly pitted against our fellow man over beliefs. You know, some people identify as scientific, some people identify as spiritual. What really all people should do is identify as both, because spirituality is a real thing, science is a real thing, and we, the people of this world, we should be constantly working to better understand the world we live in, better understand spirituality, better understand science, better understand this world, our fellow man. And instead of that happening, what we see is things in this world, such as science, such as religion, they're used to polarize us, to divide us. And with regards to the Freemasons having ownership over science and spirituality, the Freemasons have a motto that is divide and conquer. They also believe in order out of chaos. And these concepts are used again and again in the world we live in to control us, to steer our minds. So we're going to be talking more about that. Where I want to begin before we get to the breakdown, the scientific proof of the ownership over science and spirituality, before we get to that, I want to show a brief clip from this tour of the Freemason Lodge in Washington, D.C. This is a narrated tour. I will link it in the description. At the Masonic Lodge in Washington, D.C. that has 33 pillars outside of it. In this part of the video, they're showing a number of faces who are 33rd degree Master Masons, and in the dialogue, they talk about how nearly every astronaut to travel to space has been a Freemason. Listen carefully, it's right here.
I learned that almost all of our astronauts have been Freemasons.
So almost all of our astronauts, Freemasons. Again, Freemasonry, an international secret society, thousands of years old. The majority of the founders of the United States of America were Freemasons. Freemasons pride themselves on being the invisible architects of society, builders, measurers, mathematicians. Let's begin by reading straight from the NASA website what happened this Christmas Eve 1968. As one of the most turbulent, tragic years in American history drew to a close, we'll pause right there. 1968 was the year Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, Bobby Kennedy was assassinated. It's the year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. It's the year World Trade Center construction began. It's the year George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. The film Space Odyssey 2001 came out that year. 33 years after 68, September 11th, 2001 would happen, along with Bush becoming president. Bush was a member of Skull and Bones, the Masonic elite secret society at Yale. George W. Bush has a birth numerology of 33, the number of Freemason fixation. But yes, 68 was a tragic year. The United States was in Vietnam. Big year, 68. So that year, millions around the world were watching and listening as the Apollo 8 astronauts, Frank Borman, Jim Lovell, and Bill Anders, became the first humans to orbit another world, and what they mean by that is the moon. As their command module floated above the lunar surface, the astronauts beamed back images of the moon and Earth and took turns reading from the book of Genesis, closing with a wish for everyone on the good Earth. And the reason they used those words on the good Earth has everything to do with what we're talking about. If you're new here, I talk about the language of Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. This is a language that is used by Freemasons in high places. Our English language is based on the numbers into letter system known as Gematria. English sums to 74, Gematria sums to 74, a special number that we will talk more about. What I want you to notice is that science in Jewish Gematria sums to 155, Christianity in simple English Gematria 155, just like the phrase on the good Earth. In the film, in the novel, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, it says the number 42 is the key to the world we live in. We'll talk more about the number 42. What I want you to notice is how The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, a story that has many parallels to what we're talking about, has this same gematria as Christianity on the good Earth, science. Notice below, on the good Earth and Pythagorean gematria also sums to 74, another very special number to Freemasonry. And to this nation, the United States of America, where NASA was born, a nation that was created about the same time English came into existence. Independence Day equals 74. We celebrated on July 4th. Holiday equals 74. The first Thanksgiving was celebrated by George Washington exactly 74 years to the day that Lincoln made it an annual holiday. Masonic 74, Jewish 74, occult 74. Our language, English, sums to 74, just like Gematria, just like alphabetic order. And with regards to spirituality, language, Gematria, the Old Testament of the Bible was written in Hebrew, a lettering system that was based on numbers, and the New Testament was rewritten in Greek. The Greek language was 26 letters in length, just like English, and was also based on a numerical system. The word God in Hebrew sums to 26. The word God in English sums to 26. G's the 7th letter, O the 15th, D the 4th. Add it together, 26 letters in the alphabet. The Jewish faith commonly writes God, G-D. G's the 7th letter, D's the 4th. 7-4, a lot like 74, which we're talking about. Look at this. More 74 words, just for reference. Jesus 74, cross 74, gospel 74, Messiah 74. In the Quran, it's Muhammad 74. The English translation of Jesus is Yeshua 74. Joshua, the English translation of Jesus, is 74. And for duality, Lucifer is also 74. Both Lucifer and Jesus are said to be bearers of light. They both share this gematria of 74. Think about the duality in science and Christianity with God's only Son and the Son of this world that lights the earth, as well as Jesus, the Son of God, the bearer of light. So the Apollo 8 mission, they read from Genesis. It results in a federal lawsuit by the American atheists, again highlighting duality, spirituality versus science, instead of being united and looking at it as two related studies of better understanding the world we live in, why we're here, what the purpose of our existence is. Again, this came on Christmas Eve, the evening before they celebrate the birth of Jesus, which is said to have happened in the summer. Interestingly enough, we celebrated at the winter solstice, very much like how we celebrate the resurrection of Jesus at the spring solstice, Easter. Death, life, duality. The date of this reading was a date with numerology of 123. The word conspiracy has gematria of 123, so does outer space. Supposedly, these people reading Genesis were traveling in outer space, the first people to be going around the moon. But even better, it was a date with 33 numerology. Numerology of 123, like conspiracy in outer space, as well as 33. 33 is a very special number. Genesis in Gematria sums to 33. It said that Jesus performed 33 miracles in the Bible. One of the first miracles at the Sea of Galilee. Galilee equals 33 and supposedly has a 33-mile circumference. Jehovah equals 33. The sun, as in the sun in the sky, Gematria of 33. But look at this. Genesis is 33, Big Bang 33, secrecy 33, masonry 33. They're reading about Genesis on a date with 33 numerology on a mission that launched on December 21st, 1221. What is 12 plus 21? Yes, 33. 33 in numerology is the master teacher number. Teacher in Gematria sums to 33. And what the powers that be want from us, the people of the world, is for us to believe in the lessons they teach us, to believe them about space and our place in the universe, to believe them about what's within the religious texts that exist at this day and age, such as the Christian Bible, which has been retranslated several times. We'll be talking more about the Bible, space, and the number 42 as well. A few more notes on Apollo 8. Apollo 8 launched December 21st, 1968, returned to Earth 6 days later, December 27th, 1968. It launched from pad 39A. And why that is interesting is because Genesis is the first book of the 39 books in the Old Testament. What happened the day after I wrote this article, I wrote this the evening of August 31st. The next day, September 1st, a SpaceX rocket exploded. And SpaceX, this past December 21st, 2015, had a major tribute rocket launch to Apollo 8, which I have a video on. We'll review that. That rocket launch on December 21st from SpaceX was also on this same launch pad, 39A. We'll get to that. Very important, very related. Apollo 8, what it was the first successful mission orbiting the moon. At least that's what was reported to the American people. What I think from my research is that we are being duped, and very likely no astronauts have ever traveled in space. It's all part of a grand deception, a grand mocking. I want you to notice that Moon has Gematria 57, just like Apollo 8, just like Scottish Rite, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. That is the branch of Freemasonry that dominates NASA, that has dominated this nation from the day it was created. The day NASA was established was a date with 113 numerology. Scottish in simple English Gematria sums to 113, as in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. We'll talk more about that number 113. NASA was officially opened October of 1958. First proposed and funded July 29th, opened in October. October's the only month with 33 Gematria, 33 the number of Freemason obsession, an agency run by Freemasons. Notice here, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, what NASA stands for, has Gematria 474, both very special numbers. Masonic, Jewish, occult 74, as we talked about. Authority, Foundation 47. The word Christian also has Gematria 47, the reflection of 74. We talked about how Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel all sum to 74. Please know that the word Christian is also 47. Those numbers coded into the full name, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. With regards to NASA being established in 58, again, science has simple English Gematria 58, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, NASA about space. You know, with regards to space, we understand that the sun, the star, is the center of our world for the Earth. Supposedly we orbit around it. Star, Gematria of 58. And so does solar system in the Pythagorean method. Solar system also sums to 58, named after the system going around the star that we call the sun. There's a reason they've given us the same word, the way it sounds, for the star that heats the earth, that lights the earth, as how we refer to the child of God, Jesus Christ, the Son, the Son. So, for more duality between science, spirituality, the first published Bibles were known as 42-line Bibles. If you read the New Testament, the Christian part of the Bible, which begins with the book of Matthew, it's the 40th book of the Bible. The final 27 books, the Christian section, the first 39 books, the Jewish section. 42-line Bibles beginning with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. Look at all these 42 words. Outer space 42, UFO 42, World War 42, War 42, New Testament 42, New World 42, New 42, Freemason 42, Zionism 42, Math 42. All of these words and phrases are interrelated. Here in the United States of America, our nation was created from a gang that is referred to sometimes as the New World Order, which is a Freemason world order, a Zionist Jewish world order, and it is about controlling every aspect of our lives, controlling our mind, controlling our understanding of the world. Think about all of the things in this list and the impact they've had on us. They are all very much interrelated, and from my research, if you take the time to go through my blog and my videos, I show how so many things over the years have been executed by this numerological code, from the establishment of this nation, to the beginning and ends of wars, to scientific discoveries, and very much throughout the history of NASA and the planets. If you've never seen my work on UFOs and UFO sightings that are popular in mainstream culture, you have to check that out. It's all around these same numbers, 33, 42, 47. Again, let's not forget how outer space connects to conspiracy. Something else. In this world, the sun in the sky is truly the keeper of time. It dictates the seasons, day and night. They tell us that the sun is 93 million miles away. And what's so interesting about that is, to the occult, out of all the planets, Saturn is said to be the keeper of time. Saturn in Gematria sums to 93, just like the 93 million miles away that NASA and science says the sun is. With regards to Jesus on the cross, that symbol is known as the crucifix. Again, here we have sun and Jesus overlapping and it being coded into our language. The word propaganda also has Gematria of 93. The Zionist nation of Israel, which is part of this Masonic Zionist New World Order agenda, was drawn up on the date September 3rd. 93, a very important number to that nation. Saturn also has a lot to do with government and structure. Again, the sun, Jehovah, Gematria of 33. Jesus' ministry began by Galilee, Galilee 33. Fish has Gematria of 33. Jesus was a fisherman. Even fisherman has Gematria of 93. The singular. Fisherman, Gematria of 93. Jesus a teacher, a fisherman, teacher 33. So here's where it gets even more interesting. The first man to read from Genesis of the astronauts was Bill Anders, born William Allison Anders, born in October on the 17th in the year 33. Look at this. From his birthday, he turned 35 years old. From his 35th birthday to the day of this reading was 68 days later in the year 1968. And again, 1968 was a big year. 911 made the National Emergency Dialing Code. World Trade Center construction began. George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. Birth numerology of 33 for George W. Bush. The alumni of Skull and Bones are known as Bonesmen. Bonesmen has Gematria of 33. From George W. Bush's birthday, which is July 6th, to September 11th is a span of 68 days as well. A lot was planned out in 1968. We are living out a planned agenda. And 68, there were a lot of tributes to that agenda to come. I think this reading from Genesis was a tribute to that. If you watch the movie Minions, the cartoon movie, Minions equals 93, that movie begins with the plot starting in 1968 in New York City. The cartoon characters travel from New York to EvilCon in Orlando, Florida. This year, Orlando became the worst terror tragedy since September 11th in New York City. Not by coincidence. So, the man, Bill Anders, birth name William Allison Anders, his name in Gematria sums to 84. His birth name, very special number to this nation. United States of America equals 84. Revolutionary War equals 84. The Twilight Zone equals 84. Serling, the writer of The Twilight Zone, equals 84. In 1958 was the pilot episode of The Twilight Zone. It was about sending a man to the moon. Here's a moon mission with a tribute to Genesis and the Freemason control over our understanding of the world. TV, Twilight Zone, a TV show. T is the 20th letter, V the 22nd. 20 plus 22, 42. When you turn on the TV, you turn on the world of Freemasonic information. This is their gateway to all of us. The group that sued the government over this reading, American Atheists, has Gematria just like Manifest Destiny, which sums to 66 and 84. Just another 84. Words such as lawyer equals 84. Think about how we're a nation of laws and lawyers. Here's a lawsuit. Thomas Jefferson equals 84. Louisiana Purchase equals 84. A whole lot of history between the United States of America and France. Thomas Jefferson studied in France. Louisiana Purchase from France. The planet Neptune was discovered on New Year's Day of the French Republican calendar. On its 47th year of existence, France equals 47, Republican equals 47, time equals 47. On the 47th year of the French Republican calendar, New Year's Day, the planet Neptune was discovered supposedly by a Frenchman. That was a date with 33 numerology, and planets in Gematria equals 33. 84 years after that discovery, Neptune would be discovered, or excuse me, not Neptune, Pluto would be discovered. Pluto equals 84. It was discovered by somebody from the United States of America. United States of America, 84, Pluto, 84, 84 years after France. France and the United States of America are two Masonic nations. The U.S. born from the American Revolution, France born from the French Revolution, which followed the American Revolution. All of these events throughout history have been done by the numbers, by the Freemasons. The director, the writer for The Twilight Zone, Rod Serling and Pythagorean Gematria sums to 58, just like the year NASA was established. The pilot episode came November 24th, 1958. That was a date with a life lesson number of 58. Also a date with 102 numerology, United States of America equals 102. It was also a date with 93 numerology, propaganda, Saturn, the sun. The Twilight Zone, almost a full year later, would have its first episode beginning its season run. The pilot was nearly a year earlier. Notice how when it began, it was October 2nd, 10/2, a lot like the date numerology of the pilot. Special number to this nation, special show to the history of this nation. The date that the pilot, or the first episode debuted was a date with 71 numerology. Just want to remind you that Catholic equals 71, Galileo Galilei equals 71. All throughout history, there has been division between science, the understanding of space, the world we live in, science and spirituality, this back and forth. And what I have come to understand is that all this time it's been Freemasons doing this on purpose to control the minds of the people and have them needlessly fight and quarrel over these topics instead of working together to, come to the truth of what our existence is. Inside the Catholic Church, there is the Jesuit order, the secret society, very much part of this New World Order. Jesuit has Gematria of 84. We'll be talking more about 84. We talked about how it connected to the United States of America. We'll also talk about how 84 is related to space. This mission, it was an Apollo mission. Apollo has that Gematria of 71, science, spirituality, by the numbers. To the Greeks, Apollo's name meant to destroy. It meant to have to do with destruction. And what the Freemasons are truly doing to us is destroying the truth of this world and our understanding of it. That's what all of this is about, controlling us, keeping the knowledge from us so that they can rule over us more easily. Think about all the fear-mongering that comes out of space, all the money that's donated to it, supposedly to study. It's all part of a grand robbery, a grand deception. Notice how NASA and Catholic also have this connection in Gematria. In the history of the United States, only one Catholic president, JFK, the 35th president, assassinated on 11/22 in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree Freemason. 11/22. So the first astronaut to read, Bill Anders, as he went by, Bill Anders has this Gematria 42. Again, Freemason, Zionism. Look at Alex Jones right now. Alex Jones is a fraud, a front, a deceiver. What he does is he takes the minds of people who are searching for the truth and he steers them off the wrong path, down the wrong path, more fear-mongering where he goes. InfoWars and Alex Jones both sum to 42. Supposedly he's 42 years old right now. He's born on February 11th, the 42nd day of the year. Claims to be a Christian. Again, New Testament begins with the 42 generations leading up to Jesus. New Testament 42. 42-line Bibles. In the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, there's the big tribute to 42. Said to be the number that explains our existence. That phrase, "don't panic," from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy even has the 42 coding within it. The name Bill Anders in Pythagorean Gematria sums to 42, and Simple English Gematria 96, just like Freemason, the small way is 42, the big way 96. The ranging degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry are 31, 32, 33. Add those numbers together, sums to 96. That phrase, "don't panic," the same thing, 42 and 96. The word knowledge, 42 and 96. The word knowledge means, the more information you have, the further you'll be from coming to your ledge of understanding. That's what the word knowledge is all about. Freemasons, keepers of knowledge, again, the invisible architects of society. Words such as building and architect have Gematria 42. The word math 42. Think about the measurement in building, architecture. Look at this. The numbers 42 and 96 have a mathematical relationship. If you add the divisors of 42, they sum to 96. Coded into all these words, even having a mathematical relationship. Also interesting, when you write out 42, it sums to 142, just like Christmas Eve. Bill Anders, 42, the first to read on Christmas Eve. Space mission, Gematria of 142. A space mission reading. So now here's the 84 connection to space. The divisors of the number 44 sum to 84, the United States of America number, the Twilight Zone number. Space itself has Gematria 44. So does the word grand. The Freemasons build grand lodges. The big G on their compass and square is connected to the numbers 33 as well as 44, both multiples of 11. 44 is also a spiritual number. Prophet 44, spiritual 44, kill 44, hope 44, faith 44, karma 44. Think about how the 44th President Obama ran on hope. What the Freemasons are doing are truly killing our scientific and spiritual understanding by the numbers. And they've been doing this for a very long time. They rule the world with lies, deceit, tyranny, force. This is what needs to end, and it can end with the spreading of this knowledge. The big G in the middle of the Freemason compass and square, if you've never seen their logo, this is it right here. You see it on license plates in many states, patches on police badges. A lot of police departments in this nation run by the Freemasons. The big G represents 33 in this way. There's a method of Gematria known as Francis Bacon Gematria. Lowercase a through z is 1 through 26. Uppercase a through z is 27 through 52. Big G is 33 in that system. There's a reason astronauts wear orange, a color with 33 gematria. Remember that word believe, Gematria 33 with a lie right in the middle. And what the Freemasons want is for us to believe their lies by the numbers. When people say, who are they? Remember this. They has that Gematria 58, just like Freemasonry, just like secret society. The other astronauts, the other two involved in this mission were Frank Borman and Jim Lovell. Frank Borman in Gematria, the name sums to 113. 113. Just like mainstream, just like dishonest, just like the date NASA was first funded. Bava Kama 113a in the Talmud says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who's not. Frank Borman was from Gary, Indiana. Gematria 58 as well. A lot of these people born to be, and a lot of these towns, historic towns, have Freemason lodges where the entire history of the town is connected to those Masonic lodges. Frank Borman, born on Pi Day, 3.14. Real quick, I want to teach you something about Pi and the English language. We began with Christmas Eve. Here in the United States, instead of most people celebrating Jesus, they celebrate consumption, materialism. Santa Claus has English gematria of 666, a number connected to prophecy and more. The number 666 is commonly referred to as the mark of the beast. And what I want you to see is how mark of the beast has gematria of 144. So does Easter Bunny. Here in the United States, for Jesus' birthday, people are introduced to Santa Claus. And for the remembrance of the resurrection of Jesus on Easter, people are introduced to the Easter Bunny. Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. Easter Bunny has gematria of 144, like mark of the beast. If you add the first 144 numbers of pi, the first 144 decimal points. So pi is 3.14, the number you learned about in geometry, having to do with cycles and circles and circumference and radius. 3.14. If you add the first 144 decimals, 1 plus 4 plus the next 142 decimals that come, it sums to 666. And both of these numbers, 144 and 666, they come from the final book of the Bible, Revelation, the book of prophecy. Check this out. If you divide 22 by 7, 22 divided by 7 gives you the number for pi, 3.14 with the decimal point repeating. If you write 22 divided by 7 in gematria, it sums to 314, a lot like 3.14. This entire study of numbers into words, all of the numerical coding comes from mathematics that are significant to this world, such as pi. We live in a world of cycles and circles and seasons. Here's a story about orbiting the moon, That's a cycle, that's a circle. There's a reason that these people are chosen. This man being born on Pi Day with his birthplace coded, with his name coded, none of this is arbitrary. Through the history of Freemasons and high places, you find this. The significant names, the significant birthdays. And one of two things are going on. Either these people are born and chosen for their numbers, or they are born and birthed accordingly with their futures planned, possibly even involving C-sections to make sure that birthday dates are hit. The third man in the mission was from Cleveland, Ohio. Ohio, one of two states with the gematria of 47, the other is Nevada. His birth name, James Arthur Lovell, gematria of 68, like the year. Also from Cleveland, one of few American cities with a 33 gematria. There's more to it than that, but we've already covered a lot. I just want you to see. These are why these men were on this mission. This is why their names are known in history. They're all connected through the numbers. And for one more thing about NASA by the numbers, the phrase spacesuit has gematria of 113. So let's close with a few more important points. Again, it is the Freemasons and Zionist Jews controlling government, controlling NASA, controlling media, and giving us news stories meant to divide us, meant to deceive us throughout history by the numbers. This year, on the 4th of July, 2016, the big news story was the Juno probe entering the orbit of Jupiter. And Google, all day for their doodle, had this up. It was Google with this thing right here, which was supposed to be the Juno probe rotating. And as it would do its rotation, it would form the word goy about every 10 seconds. And I want you to think about this. Jupiter goy. If you don't know what a goy is, it's a derogatory term for somebody who's not Jewish. If you've never read the Protocols of Zion, they were written in the late 1800s. They were written by the sect of the Jewish faith that controls world banking, that controls world government, that controls world media, and is deceiving us by the numbers. It talks about how it will divide us over race, religion, destroy our understanding of the world, destroy our food, poison us, program us. What we are living out was planned centuries ago. And every day, if you know what to look for, you see the fingerprints of this mocking, this agenda. July 4th was the first time in 99 years that July 4th was a date with 47 numerology. July 4th, 2016 had 47 numerology. The word goy equals 47. The last time this happened was July 4th, 1917, 99 years earlier. Jupiter in Gematria sums to 99, not by coincidence. We talked about the French and American connection. The French Revolution is credited to the Bavarian Illuminati, which was established May 1st, 1776, just before the American Revolution, just before American independence. May 1st, 1776. That was a date with 99 numerology, 5 plus 1 plus 17 plus 76. It was started with 13 families. Notice that 13 also connects to 99. This is a nation with 13 stripes on the flag, began with 13 colonies, 13 years of public school programming, where we're taught to trust and believe our government, our media. It's always a grand mocking by the numbers, and you'll only see it if you know what to look for. Most people in this nation don't even know what the word goy is. So that's why for 48 hours, Google was able to keep this up, mocking us all in our faces with the Jupiter mission. Please notice that 47 is the 15th prime number. Juno equals 15. It was the Juno probe. Juno probe has Gematria 44, like space, like Cancer. This happened in the astrological time of Cancer. Please know that the name Armstrong equals 44 for Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon, supposedly, a mission that happened in the time of Cancer, when Cancer, the astrological sign, is ruled by the moon. Always 47 and 74 with space. So check this out. I have a video from earlier this year. On December 21st, 2015, the 47-year anniversary of the Apollo 8 launch, SpaceX had a successful rocket launch and landing. It was the first time for them as a company. It was on the same day Apollo 8 launched, which became the first mission to successfully orbit the moon. Supposedly, this rocket orbited the Earth and then landed back in the ocean. That's what we were told. Check this out. SpaceX in Gematria. I must have wrote this up here. Here, let me show you, Truth Seeker. You got to know this one. SpaceX in Gematria sums to 68. And this was a tribute to the 1968 Apollo mission by SpaceX. SpaceX, on this date, December 21st, the 47-year anniversary, which happened to be a date with 68 numerology, did this very similar mission. Now, SpaceX, since that date, has had numerous other successful missions. The first setback was September 1st, 2016, yesterday, when their rocket blew up at Cape Canaveral Launch Pad 39A, the same launch pad that this successfully launched from, the same launch pad that goes back to 1968, the mission that led to this Genesis reading story. Here is where it gets interesting. Here is where it gets really interesting. In this same week in the news, we got this bizarre story out of Norway, a lightning strike killing 323 reindeer. Here in the United States, when you hear reindeer, immediately your mind is going to make the connection to Christmas. Christmas is supposed to be the celebration of Jesus, but here in the US, it's a celebration of consumerism, materialism, gluttony. Notice that Lucifer has gematria of 323, capitalism also 323. Lucifer parallels to Satan. In the Bible, Satan travels through a lightning bolt. Think about how Santa is a reshuffling of the letters of Satan. Santa travels with the reindeer. Santa and Satan have gematria of 232, the reflection of 323. And for the record, Satan and lightning share the same gematria. In the Bible, Satan travels to earth in a lightning bolt. This story of the reindeer is a word that has gematria of 228, so does United States of America, so does death. Reindeer also connects to conspiracy. Norway, a nation with this 96 gematria, also 33. From the date that this story emerged to the date of Christmas is 118 days, another number connected to death. Also a total span of 119 days. Standout numbers. It just makes me think, last year the Queen had these subtle remarks about the end of Christmas. Are we trying to be clued in by the Freemasonic ownership that something nasty is coming in close proximity to Christmas? Very interesting, the parallels between the Apollo 8 mission, what's going on with the SpaceX rockets. What weirds me out the most is how I wrote the post where we started with the evening before this happened. And I intended to make the video that night, but I became too tired. And then the next morning, this rocket explosion. And with regards to the explosion, which I have a video on, which I'll link in the description, along with the rest of my work on space, NASA, SpaceX, Blue Origin. Thinking about that explosion, think about the phrase Big Bang. Big Bang, Genesis 33, Cape Canaveral, CC 33. There's something at work here. Norway, reindeer. They're trying to clue us in. And remember, the most important thing to take away from this video is understand that the Freemasons, their power is real. They have major influence over our understanding of the world. The Christians, the story of Jesus in the Bible as they know it, it has been written, edited, and put out by these people. The way we understand science, the way we understand the planets, the way this world operates, it has been edited by the Freemasons. These people have us living in a box and fighting over the knowledge they've given us. And what I'm trying to do with these videos is get people to see that. And that we shouldn't be such believers. And we need to become more about thinking and understanding and tolerating and seeing truth. It's okay to recognize that you've been lied to and deceived. That is not your fault. It becomes your fault when you shout down those who come across your path, who try to enlighten you, who try to help you, who try to free you from the lies. That's what this channel's about. You follow my work, you start to see just how widespread this Freemason ownership is. I just put out a video the other day on the big news story of Colin Kaepernick not saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And look, here's a story in the headlines days after I put out the video, the number 74 being put right before your eyes. I talked about this. Colin Kaepernick equals 74. Black Panther Party equals 74. The NFL purposefully organizing and planning the ritual, the tribute to the Black Panther Party, the controlled opposition owned by the Freemasons in the Super Bowl last year. hosted by the 49ers, who Colin Kaepernick plays for. Colin Kaepernick faced the Baltimore Ravens in Super Bowl 47. Baltimore, the home of the Colts. Here's a Colts helmet with 74 on it. It's all symbolic, and it's all by the numbers. Colin Kaepernick, last night in San Diego, which equals 74, another protest, and they talked about how a 35-year-old former NFL, former military joined him, as well as number 35 for the 49ers. We talked about 35, Catholic, NASA. The word I has Gematria of 35, and the eye that they're after is our third eye, our mind's eye, and controlling what that sees. All they want us to see with our mind's eye, from space to history to spirituality to even the world of pro sports, all they want us to see is what they program for us to receive. Believe in Jesus, believe in NASA, believe in football, believe in celebrity, believe in money. I'm going to do a video on what's going on here in the NFL. Just want you to see how these numbers extend through all of culture, and when you're aware of them, they're put before your eyes every day. So hopefully I explained that clearly enough, truth seeker. If you're new here, truly don't panic. Sometimes learning the truth of this world can be scary, but don't be afraid. Knowledge is power. We're going to use this knowledge to empower the masses and take the gang of liars, deceivers, those who laugh at us, those who mock us, out of power once and for all. All right, truth seeker, until next time. I was just saying that when we have the eyes to see and the knowledge to know, we can expose the Freemason control and symbolism all around us. With regards to space, a lot of that symbolism is created using the Hubble telescope in recent years. Notice the Hubble telescope launched April 24th, 1990 from the Kennedy Space Center. That was a date with numerology of 137 and 47. The word authority, the big way is 137, the small way 47. 137 is the 33rd prime number, coming right back to 33. Washington, D.C. equals 137. Federal equals 33. Washington, D.C., the home of the federal government. Again, it is a Masonic nation. That Washington, D.C. tour that we watched a clip of in the beginning, in the nation's capital, 33 pillars on the outside of the building. The length of the Hubble telescope is 13.3 meters, a lot like 133, the number for government. And this is what it's all about. Government, the original word is about mind control. Our government takes our money, takes our resources, and uses them to deceive us. And they deceive us by the numbers with contrived symbols. Until next time, truth seekers.